Hello, and welcome to episode 62 of High and Outside, an irreverent sports ball podcast. I'm Oz, and as always, I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, MC Commish. Please check us out on Twitter at AOK Worldwide, and soon we'll be on TikTok, I think. So please check us out there as well. You can find all of our episodes on iTunes and Spotify. Please rate, review, and subscribe there, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also find us all of our video casts on YouTube. That's yt.aokworldwide.com. And aokworldwide.com will get you to all of our content as well. With that, Commish, let's rip the one-hitters.
Anyway, we're going to lead off with the World Series. And before I let you go, I'm going to start you off with this. I'm sure you'll agree, but for the vast majority of baseball fans besides people in Houston, basically, I think all those people can agree on one phrase. Suck it, dickbags.
I agree with that. Certainly. I think, as you said, I think there probably hasn't been a more public side of a series in a while.
High ground.
Like, where it just felt like everybody besides that one core fan base of people in Houston were...
You know those heat maps?
Yeah.
It'd be like all red, and then just that little nub right in Houston.
There'd be a little nub in Houston, there'd be a little nub in Vegas.
And then
because
fuck those guys.
Yeah, everybody else would... Yeah, we would all agree that this was the right outcome. Karma's a bitch. We love to see it. The Braves, somehow an Atlanta sports team, brought it home. Didn't choke.
25 years?
Yeah, 1995 was the last title. Win in 6.
Years.
Win in a shutout fashion last night. Jorge Soler leads it off with just a moonshot, man. Right over the train tracks. Just a monster home run. That pretty much... After that, it felt like it was theirs to lose at that point. Like, they were gonna win, in my opinion. After this Jorge Soler beat down and pounding his chest at the bench and all that stuff, I was like, these guys aren't losing tonight.
They had the initiative for sure.
Yeah, well, and they had now already gotten to the Astros bullpen, and they had an actual starter on the mound who was gonna give them, and he gave them six good innings. And that's all they needed. Good, another home run by Swanson. Freddie Freeman, who, respect Freddie Freeman. That guy seems awesome. Just a great series for the Braves. Great series for Atlanta. Maybe not the most appealing series for baseball in general. I have a feeling I haven't seen the numbers, but I'm sure they're out there. But the ratings for Sunday Night Football compared to the ratings for game 5 of the World Series, it's probably pretty ugly.
Yes, I watched Sunday Night Football.
I did too. I was on a plane and I had a choice, and I watched Sunday Night Football.
Exactly.
And it's but nonetheless, congrats to the Braves, and baseball's over.
Next up, we'll talk about not really this much, but college hoops starts soon.
The
really
Champions
soon.
Classics is a week from yesterday.
Yeah, November 9th.
Yesterday, you're 2 days ago.
And then, I
think KU's in an exhibition tonight.
Who are they playing? Is it Emporia this year? Yeah, is it Emporia this year? So I'm actually going to do a bonus interview segment with our first official guest. His name is Dave Barrand. He runs collegebasketballtimes.com, and he also runs a Twitter where he posts little memes and snippets, and that's at COLL Hoops Humor. So be a first official guest, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Moving past that, I'd say in our last pit stop, Formula One, we always say, it's just kind of our catchphrase, a weekend with a GP is better than a weekend without a GP. They're in Mexico.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm very excited. I'm not going to get to watch the GP live because I'm going to Arrowhead Sunday. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited to record it and watch it when I get home. I'm really excited. I'm going to try to avoid. I know I'm going to know who wins, but I'm going to try to avoid the highlights until I get a chance to watch. But I'm excited for qualifying. I'm excited. it's a very what's the word for it? Like, there's a lot of fanfare. Like,
it's an event.
It's a big event. I mean, the USGP is like that too, honestly. Like some of the stops that they pull out, like they got the helicopters everywhere and just like the cool shit they have at the USGP.
But there's no American drivers. Now they're in Mexico. And like
there's Checo.
Yeah, if Checo wins, we were talking about like riots. And then what was the Spanish word for, I forget, it was like motín. It's like if he wins, that's going to be just out so cool. Like it's going to erupt.
Yeah, I'm honestly rooting for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It'd be amazing.
Yes.
Honestly, it gives me chills just thinking about it.
Right? And then
go Checo.
If there wasn't, I have a very like in-depth question to ask you in regards to like the one last remaining seat in Formula One, but I don't think we should do that because the ones have been hit and there's so much in the NFL. So let's just move on to
what's the haps?
Yeah, man, everything is the haps. It's Wednesday, and it feels like we've had an entire like month's worth of news in 2 days. We had the trade deadline was Monday. Biggest deal of the day was, or of the weekend rather, was Von Miller traded to the Rams for a draft pick, some draft pick compensation. Huge deal. I mean, the Rams continue to basically just say we don't care at all about our drafts for the next 3 years because they just keep giving away all their draft compensation. They're clearly like, this is our window. We're going to try and win it here. And I get that. Vaughn, I mean, if you can get that guy, go get him. He still looks awesome. He still wins. Like, I know he's getting older, but he's still a good player.
He's 32.
Yeah, I mean,
like that's funny to think that like 32, what he specializes in, 32 is.
Yeah, he's getting up there, but he's like still just an incredible pass rusher.
And he's actually had to. Have you seen that meme where Von Miller had to like go into coverage?
Yeah, he just keep getting dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been using him wrong, and
well, now he gets paired next to Aaron Donald.
I actually have a question about this. I looked it up. So through 7 games, and he didn't play in one of them. No, never mind. He did. Okay. Regardless, he's had 4.5 sacks. How many games do you think it's going to take for him to match or exceed that number now that he's on the Rams?
4.5, you said?
Mm-hmm. 7 games. Because he didn't.
3 games. He has 4.5 in 3 games.
Yeah. That's like, he's now sharing a field with Aaron fucking Donald.
Mm-hmm.
All like, you can't double team both of them.
No.
So that is huge. And also, I love Von Miller. He's a Bronco. He's like the Bronco, like for the last
of this generation.
2012, he was drafted, right?
Yeah.
But this doesn't actually happen very often. But like, it feels like the organization did right by their player.
I think so too.
And go get your ring
for whatever it's worth. Like, I'm not a big Bronco fan. I told you this before the pod. Like, I was excited that Von Miller got traded to the Rams and to a team that I don't like have a real hate. I don't really mind the Rams.
But you got to root for Matty Stafford. Now he's out of Detroit, right?
Right. Like, I get to like, I couldn't root for Von Miller because he was a Bronco. Like, as a principle thing.
You can like him, but don't want him to play well. Yeah,
but I've always liked him. But now I can like root for him to play well. And I'm excited about that because I think he's a cool guy. And I agree with you that I feel like the organization did right by the player. That they traded him, and like it was just like all of the social media was like about thanking him, and like that it's from a place of love and like respect for him that this happened, as opposed to like, we're done with you, like we can get money, we can get assets for you. Like I agree. I felt like it was like the right thing.
He was emotional about it. Like, it's a big fucking deal.
I don't think the Broncos are kidding. Like, I don't think the Broncos are trying to kid themselves that they're a contender to win a Super Bowl this year, which is a smart way to look at it. Like, even though you're 500 and you'll feel, if you would take that at probably like 10 times out of 10 to start 500 with that team right now, like, you're still not, you're not going to win you're not winning the Super Bowl with that team. And Vaughn has a chance to go win a Super Bowl with this team, for real.
Yep. And good for him. Good luck, Vaughn.
Good luck, Vaughn. So that starts the week.
And it's not even like people have kind of forgot about that. It's
That's what I'm saying.
groundbreaking.
We just went through this whole thing and how cool it was and how like important it was, but
it's gone. It's back burner in the dustbin.
So, where to start? Let's start from the really dirty, like not dirty, really like bad stuff that just needs to be mentioned, and then work our way towards the more dramatic stuff.
Mm-hmm. And happier stuff.
Henry Ruggs, Oakland Raiders wide receiver, was involved. Former wide receiver, excuse me. The Oakland Raiders former wide receiver was involved in a DUI driving incident in which a woman was killed.
23 years old.
23-year-old woman was killed along with her dog, who was also in the car. He was driving. There are statements in court today that the black box data indicated that he was driving approximately 156 miles an hour 2 seconds before the crash and slowed down to about 120 and hit her. He was twice the legal limit. That was the report today from his court arraignment. He's been charged. The formal charge, I don't know if he's been formally charged. He was arraigned on charges for DUI resulting in a death and reckless driving. He faces up to 26 years in prison among those 2 counts. And it's an ugly situation. I mean, obviously, it's just an ugly thing. Our hearts with the people who lost their life and their families and loved ones. Obviously, I feel for Henry Ruggs as a young daughter, and
everything's
made a very big mistake. It's a very ugly situation, but he is no longer with the Oakland Raiders, and that is newsworthy. So I felt like we needed to mention it. It's just an ugly situation, and that's all we're going to say about it.
Unfortunately, I can relate. I understand completely.
Yeah. All right, more into things that impact the field and are also dramatic.
And I guess a footnote was Adrian Peterson is now on the Titans practice squad.
Well, yeah, Derrick Henry, that's an injury news. Derrick Henry out for the season with
gosh darn.
Liz Frank injury onto his foot, so he's got to have surgery. Now Adrian Peterson, I think that they said that he could be active this weekend.
He actually, but damn, so not just the practice squad now?
No, I think the plan is that he's going to be on practice squad because that's how they have to do it. But I think he'll eventually be on the active roster, and potentially they said even this weekend.
That's fucking...
But...
really not that important.
This morning was announced that Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, league reigning MVP, tested positive for COVID-19.
Which also affects your Homer Corner.
Yeah, we wish him all the best, obviously. Like, we're hoping for Rodgers to be healthy and that COVID won't have long-term effects or anything like that.
Healthy, like a damn sociopath.
That said, it obviously does help my Homer Corner for the weekend. But there's other drama related to Aaron Rodgers testing positive for COVID, which is that it came out that he's unvaccinated, which is dumb, but it's your personal choice. It's a dumb choice, in my opinion. But no one knew that he was unvaccinated because in the preseason when he was asked that question about whether he was vaccinated on camera or in an interview and press conference, he stated, and I quote, "I've been immunized."
Hey, that seemed... I mean, if you... Like, I appreciate that he lied about it because that's the easiest way to deal with the situation.
And basically, yeah, he didn't want to be criticized for being unvaccinated, so he made up a way to make it sound like he'd been vaccinated, and a lot of people feel misled. There's also some questions about whether or not he had violated protocol for unvaccinated players because in the preseason when he was not in uniform, he was on sidelines without a mask, which is a violation of protocols. So there's some investigation going into all of this, and it's an ever-developing situation, but it is...
Did he sign some... I wonder if he signed some sort of legal documents.
According to the NFL, apparently, it did come out later that according to the Packers and at least what the NFL has on documented is that he's been notably part of the unvaccinated player pool the whole time. like according to the NFL documents, for whatever you want to believe that is.
But he just lied about it?
He just put it on a press conference, and he did.
Awesome.
He said, "I'm immunized."
He didn't do anything illegal. He didn't want to deal with it. In a weird way, it's like, all right, dude, that's like, just fucking move on. He got caught.
Yeah, well, now he's an unvaccinated.
But who cares?
Now he's an unvaccinated player with COVID who has to miss a minimum of 2 games.
He shot his shot.
Yep.
And it got intercepted by COVID.
That's what being unvaccinated will get you, because now, like I said, he could test negative tomorrow and he's still out.
And if he's unvaccinated, it could maybe he gives him more fatigue for another game.
Right.
I mean, he's a finely tuned athlete, so if anybody's, 34.
As Nathan
35.
said, he's fucking old.
But if anybody's going to, he's got a better chance than most for sure. But, I mean, reality has a weird way of happening. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You roll the dice, you crap out, right?
So, anyway, again, we're wishing Roger the best of health. I think it's a very interesting situation. It's going to be interesting to see if there's any ramifications that come out of it, other than he is going to miss 2 games for the Packers. So, it is Jordan Love against the Chiefs this weekend. Rodgers being out swung the line 7 points. It was -1 on our way. It was -1 this morning, and then when Rodgers announced out, it was Chiefs by 8.
So if you had bet, so people are pretty fucking pumped right now.
Yeah, if they have the Chiefs.
Yeah.
People who got the Chiefs early, they're loving that.
Yeah. Did you allegedly throw down any money?
I did not. I'm not a really big, we'll get to this in Homer Corner, but I'm not a big fan of my team at the moment. Not the way they're playing. I'm a fan of the team, just not the way they're playing. We have to get to the last piece of NFL news.
This is forever. I'm going to cut that and put it as my ringtone.
Last piece of NFL news. The Browns. They've got a hurt quarterback who has a busted up left shoulder. They have a very disgruntled, some may call him a diva, wide receiver in Odell Beckham Jr. Baker notably missed Odell a couple of times during the game. He's missed him a couple of times this season. Odell Beckham Sr., Odell Beckham the first, posted an Instagram video of all the times Baker had missed his son wide open, or like all this stuff, and just said,
that's some fucking housewife shit.
Posted this shit on Instagram, and then when people were like, yeah, it's all Baker's fault, he just kept being like, facts, 100%, just basically trashing Baker Mayfield on Instagram. And so then today, the Browns just told Odell to go home. Like, he just went home from practice, excused absence. They couldn't trade him. They tried to trade him on Monday, but nobody wants that contract, especially when they know that if he makes a big enough stink about it, the Browns will have to cut him, because they can cut him and they only owe him like a signing bonus or whatever. Like they can still save some money on the cap. They're going to end up cutting him. They couldn't trade him because everybody's like, well, they're going to have to cut him anyway. I don't want to trade him an asset for him.
Which is just duh.
Yeah, it's smart.
I want to Google, when was his actual all-star season of yards and stuff?
It was like his first or second year.
Like what? Like, I want to look at his fucking... Anyway, no, that'd be boring podcast. But I actually want to know, is he worth it anymore?
I don't know, man. Like, it's been a while since we've seen him be that guy. But at the same time, he's still, when he does have the ball in his hands, he still looks super explosive. So it's like, I would love him. I would love him. Please cut him and let the Chiefs sign him, because that's exactly what they need in that offense right now. Just to light a fire, somebody else who can win on the outside besides Tyreek. Man, I would love that at that moment. So if you look at Odell's his career and you look at his stats, it was really it was his first 3 years in the league. Basically, he was a stud. He was,
and that catch.
Yeah, he was 14, 15, 16. He was 90 plus receptions and over 1,300 yards receiving.
So first 3 in the league, right? Drafted out of where again?
Out of LSU.
Right.
And, 10 and double-digit touchdowns each of those years too. So, like, that's top of the league receiver right there. And then in 18, and then he had a bad year in 2017, but he only played 4 games, so he must have got hurt. And then 18-19, he was good again. He had 1,000 yards in 2018. We're only playing 12 games. He still had 1,000 yards. And still had 6 touchdowns. And then in 2019, his first season with the Browns, he was again a 1,000-yard receiver. So like,
okay, so he is worth it then.
Like, but then the last 2 years he's only played a combined 13 games and has been not as explosive. But I still think it's definitely worth it if you don't have to give up a lot for him. Like if he gets cut, like
just waiting.
Let's do it.
It'll be Tampa or
it'll be one of those teams.
Maybe the Rams. I mean, actually, he'll be a hot commodity for nothing.
That's what I'm saying. He'll be a hot commodity. It'll be more or less where he wants to go. And
right quarterback, I thought it's been longer since he's been kind of like not worth it, but he has been. So
his
definitely,
game doesn't really fit Baker, like the way Baker plays quarterback either.
And if there is #facts, I mean, I guess like if they don't, I mean, there's something like Baker's hitting his other receivers. He was when he's healthy.
There was this weird Odell Ewing theory. I don't know if you know what Ewing theory is, but it was the idea that when Patrick Ewing got hurt in the playoffs, somehow the Knicks played better, and like it was this idea of like maybe his addition by subtraction. Mm-hmm. It's basically the Ewing theory. It's a Simmonsism. And there was a lot of Odell Ewing theory stuff about the Browns last year because as soon as Odell got hurt, the Browns all of a sudden, like, that's when they got hot and snuck into the playoffs and won that playoff game. And it's like,
it's hard. I mean, that's hard to say that. Like, that's not true.
And they haven't been as good at the start of this season when Odell's been on the field. So
actually, the smartest move he can do is just continue bitching until they cut him.
This is the NBA model.
Yeah.
This is what Ben Simmons tried to do. And Philadelphia finally was like, "Fuck you, we're not doing it. You can just be miserable. We're fine."
Yeah, bring it on, bro. They stared him down.
Yeah, we're not trading you unless we get what we want out of it. And so, but this has happened. But multiple NBA stars have successfully done this. So Anthony Davis, this can be done.
And good for them. I'm always pro player. I'm always going to defer to pro player. So ultimately, it seems like the strategic move.
My only thing is like, and I thought Anthony Davis did this generally the right way. I think Harden did it the worst way. You should not do stuff that hurts your teammates and their ability to like contribute to their livelihood. Like you have your other teammates like depend on you to play well, so that they can play well and so that you guys can do well and everybody gets paid more because of that. So I don't care if you're being dramatic. I don't care if you're doing, but whatever you should do shouldn't be you shouldn't not play hard when you're on the field, because to get your way out. That's the one thing I don't think that you should ever do.
But in this OBJ situation, he's not really producing from anyway, so it's like cut the fat.
No, I'm saying I agree to cut the fat. But I'm just saying for OBJ, I don't think OBJ would do this. I think if he's going to show up, he should show up and do his best, basically. And then off the field, whatever you need to do to make their lives miserable, that's fine. Like you don't have to talk to Baker, you don't have to. But when you're given a route, you run it and you run it hard, and that's it. That's all I'm saying.
Does that.
And I'm sure he is. That's my point. I'm just saying, when Harden was busting his way out of Houston, he just showed up out of shape and just started playing like shit on purpose. That was shitty.
Yeah, 100%.
So, anyway, that's a crazy situation. Let's get on to the actual games. There's so much news.
24 minutes in, we haven't actually talked about any X's and O's, believe it or not.
Yeah, so
well, actually believe it, because holy crap.
Homer Corner recap from last week. Both our teams won.
In kind of not exciting fashions, right?
In kind of unimpressive fashions.
Right.
I didn't leave the game being I felt good about that.
Yeah. I knew that. I was like, oh, that's nice to have one more, I guess. That's how I...
But man, the Broncos end of game sequence was the craziest shit I've seen in a long time. I couldn't believe it was happening. Because I had the Broncos in my picks pool, and I'd bet on the Broncos, and I'm just like, and I'm watching Red Zone in the airport on my way home, and they're showing the last 45 seconds of the game, and I'm like, sweet, Broncos got this locked up. Like, that's another win. That's another pick for me. I love that. And then all of a sudden, Javonte Williams fumbles the ball on first down, and I about had a heart attack. And then they decide to throw the ball on second down and incomplete pass so the clock doesn't run. And then on third down, they turn around and they hand it to Melvin Gordon, who, guess what, gets stripped by Chase Young, and the Washington football team actually recovers the ball in Denver territory with 30 seconds left. And we had this thing locked up like it was nothing. All of a sudden, pure incompetence, and I'm stressing the pick. And luckily, Taylor Heineke was on the other side, and y'all escaped. But, man, that was crazy. I've never seen such, a terrible execution of, that.
Their profession
Jesus.
At the highest level. That's like a comedy of errors.
It was ridiculous. It was on all levels. Because, whoever called the pass play on second down.
I think.
What the hell?
I think.
Just take a knee at that point.
The Broncos coaches, I don't think are very good.
I agree with this.
I think, if they had better offensive coordinator and better coaches, I feel like they would be better.
No, I agree with this. I think that the Broncos roster, there's a reason I took the Broncos in our team draft this year, because I legitimately thought the Broncos roster, with all their offensive weapons, some of the defensive talent that they have, and I do think that Fangio is a pretty decent defensive coordinator. I was like, these guys, they could be good. And then I forgot that you have...
Getting Shermered.
Yeah, Shermer on the fucking offensive coordinator, and it's like... Yeah, I should have seen this one coming.
And putting Von Miller back into coverage. And Claypool, of all people, that's not right. I'm even an armchair X's and O guys, but it's I don't are you supposed to have defensive ends cover wide receivers? Out?
Yeah.
That happened. You've seen that meme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's weird. That seems wrong to me.
Well,
and then, of course, there's been some injuries, and then, Noah Fant, right? You saw that? He's on your team still? Okay, yeah, he's got COVID now. He's on the list. We talked about this. Wasn't hard to predict. At the beginning of the season, though, it's this would, be a serious thing in fantasy, and it fucking has been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Broncos, at least they won. The Chiefs won against the New York Football Giants.
Man. That was one of those wins where it was thank God we won, but man, I do not feel good about what just happened. I was just hoping that I keep hoping that they're gonna figure it out, because they're that team that's super talented, and you're just at some point they're gonna figure it out, right? They're gonna have a get right game where they just beat on somebody. Didn't
their defense get better throughout the year last year or 2 years ago?
The defense has gotten better. I will say that the defense has played better at times, especially they played pretty well in the second half against the Titans as we were already blown out of that game, but they didn't give up points in the second half of that game. They did a decent job against Henry. And then this week they actually played okay. Frank Clark finally played a decent game. Chris Jones looked better. The secondary was better. They gave up some big plays, but otherwise, they held up okay. They only gave up 17 points. You should feel good about any game where the Chiefs give up 17 points. But it's really been the offense that's been the last couple of weeks that's been the hard part. So used to just looking so efficient and making it look so easy to just move the ball up and down the field. Not only are they turning the ball over at a ridiculously alarming rate, and some of it is just terrible luck, but some of it is just some of it's just stupidity, fumbling and stuff like that. But not only are they turning the ball over, they just look disjointed. Mahomes looks like whatever is going on in his head is got him shook, or everybody's playing these two high shell defenses where they just keep everything in front and there's nothing downfield, and it forces Mahomes to check down all the time. And I think it's just fucking with his mindset. He's this is not what I like to do. I know, let me find if I can make something happen. He forces balls, and he's got to get. I have faith in him. I've full faith. He's too good, and he'll figure it out. But it's been a rough couple games. which is something we're just not used to.
I did like the meme you sent me. Like, first time.
Yeah, seriously. But then, like,
I have a point about that game though, specifically that I found to actually be quite funny. The first drive was like a microcosm representation of their entire year, right?
Oh yeah.
Ending with the doink off the helmet. It's
They moved it right up the field like it was nothing. Like it looked like when that first drive was going on, I was like, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what we're gonna run these guys out of the building tonight. Like, yes, and then yeah, doink off the helmet, right up in the air, right into a defender's arms, and it's like, yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
What the fuck?
Not again, man. Not again. And then it's just they're making it look it looks a lot more difficult for them than it has in a long time.
They're less video game-y now.
It doesn't look like exactly. It doesn't look like a video game offense anymore.
The real bitter people are like, why did we fucking pay him $500 million?
Stupid people.
I agree. But,
the Chiefs fan base is like, there's a lot of weird, toxic parts of it where.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like,
it's of any fan base, but yeah.
But yeah, it was a win, and that's all I'll say.
You got to beat the shitty teams. At the end of the day, there's no.
Yeah, because we have a very tough schedule going forward. But again, going back to Homer Corner, this weekend we get the Packers. It was supposed to be the start of this really rough stretch of our schedule because we play the Packers this weekend, then go to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, and then we come home and play the Cowboys 3 straight weeks. And it's like now the Rodgers is out, and now it became like, oh, we got to win this one for real. Like we got to get this one to get to 5-4,
steal it,
just have a chance to win the division because we've gotten help from the Chargers. The Chargers have lost back-to-back weeks.
I was literally about to say, let's stick in the AFC West and talk about how not good they're playing.
Right. They've all of a sudden come back down to earth.
It fizzled.
Yeah, they fizzled hard. And
they need to put the little battery back onto start blinking as opposed to unplugging the cord. I'm just saying. I'm no rocket scientist or like
anybody follows that
doctor medicine.
Let me know. The Chargers have lost a couple games, which help the Chiefs kind of stay around in the AFC West. I still think, and this is probably just the homer in me and like just the hopeless optimist, that they're a team that I don't think people are going to want to play in the playoffs. Like I don't think anybody's going to be excited about the fact that they have to play us in the playoffs.
It's week 8. There's
they were 6-4.
9 games
They were
left.
6-4 at one point in the year they won the Super Bowl.
Right. So
keep the faith.
It's still not officially it's 9 games left, right?
Yeah.
So there's still, for example, if you were to win out,
yeah, if they win out, they're 13-4, and they're probably the 2 seed.
Exactly. So wild card at the worst, probably. So
I think they're definitely winning the division if they go 13-4.
But just even to a logical craziness, they've got plenty of time.
Right.
I agree. Nobody
I
hashtag.
agree. I just think they need to really look. I think they just gotta. They have the talent to beat the other teams. They need to look inward and fix the things that they're doing bad, basically.
And hashtag nobody cares about your fantasy team. I have it's kind of thing. It's dude, there's still 9 games left. It's not. You've not won 4 games and it's week 13. There's more. Yeah. You just have to keep
In
going.
fantasy, there's only 4. There's only 4 or 5 weeks left.
Is it 3 games?
Before the playoffs.
Shit. I care about
Anyway.
Who did the Broncos play this week? Cowboys. Oh my God, they're gonna get routed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if Dak plays or not. I don't think. I think Cooper Rush had some magic on Sunday night because sometimes that happens the first time a quarterback gets to get out there. I don't know that then we're going to win a ton of games with Cooper Rush. So hopefully Dak is back. Not for you, but for them.
Yeah.
And I generally like that guy too. and hope that he does well. So
he just got so many fucking injuries.
Yeah.
Which just sucks.
Well, and it sucks because like that calf that he's dealing with right now is in the same leg where he busted up really bad last year.
It's almost it is kind of like an unintended consequence. It's just like a residual effect of that one.
He doesn't have the flexibility in his ankle, which results in more like strain on his calf, which like now led to an injury, which unfortunately like might lead to another injury, which it's a shitty situation. But yeah, that Broncos down there. Other good games this weekend.
There's better games, but have been slightly lessened so, unfortunately. Like, this would have been a great game. Rams Titans,
yeah.
But the lack of Derrick Henry, we'll see what Ryan Tannehill can do. And A.J. Brown is a monster.
And Julio. If Julio's healthy.
Yeah, that's right. The plays where he doesn't have to.
That's on Sunday night, so that'll be fun. I think Chicago-Pittsburgh on Monday night this week will be fun.
That's just classic.
It's classic, and Pittsburgh's hanging around. They're playing good defense again. Justin Fields looked a lot better again this last weekend, even though they lost that game to the Niners. Like, he looked a lot better, a lot more fun. Yeah, I mean,
Cardinals,
Bengals,
Niners,
Browns is pretty good. Bengals, Browns is pretty good.
Yeah, if Browns can have anybody
healthy.
Yeah.
Man,
they're just getting.
It's been tough for them. The Bengals, man, can't.
Trap game.
What a loss,
Trap game.
It's a trap game, but it's a trap game. Like, here's my thing on the trap game. It's a trap game, and they fell into the trap early. They went down. They were down like 14-0 or 17-0. They came back, fought through it. Like, at that point, I was like, okay, now you got to win. And then they're up 11 in the fourth quarter. At that point, I'm not calling a trap game. I'm calling, like, you just got beat. Like,
they did get beat.
The second, like, that's just bad. That's just a bad game. Like, you can't give up that lead 11 points to the Jets and Mike White.
I wasn't talking about any like exercise. I'm saying that could have been a trap game, and I think I actually did call that. Like, I talked to my coworker. I was like, this is like.
I bet on the Jets because they were getting like 9. They were getting like 9 points.
Fucking.
So.
Fucking nice. Hell yeah. Allegedly. Allegedly. It's been a fucking crazy week in the NFL. It's hard to get over that.
There's still stuff going on with like the Deshaun Watson situation.
Oh my!
There's just.
If I had died an hour ago, I would have forgotten that Deshaun Watson had shit going on. Yeah. That's how crazy of a.
Saquon got COVID too,
right?
But he's vaccinated, so he can he just has to test negative. It's like
in 2 and 24 hours, right?
Right. It's just been a crazy week.
And then I think who was done for the season? Who just announced they were done for the season?
Dude, I can't even tell you because there's so many news things on here.
It doesn't matter, but yeah.
Oh, Michael Thomas.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He announced. Yeah, it's been just a fucking it's
a crazy week.
Yeah,
that's all there is to say about it. Real quickly on college football, before we close,
we're gonna revert back. We got away from Homer Corner too soon, so we're gonna bring it back to Homer Corner
sooner. OU.
He wasn't paying attention. I'm gonna pocket that as a quarter of a point because I like that one.
My Homer Corner would be OU. OU took care of business this weekend against Texas Tech. Won big. Caleb Williams looked awesome again. But bigger picture, college football, we had our first set of college football playoff rankings last night.
And then, of course, the Cornhuskers did have a lead at some point over Purdue. Then they lost the game as per usual.
Oh, my God, dude.
End of discussion of the back.
Man, Nebraska.
Whatever.
I don't know where you go from here, bub.
He can't not make them do penalties too. I don't know if it's coaching or just mind thing or whatever. Yep, they lost. Gave it away. Back to the Sooners.
Well, we got our first college football playoff rankings. Georgia and Alabama. Georgia's number 1, not surprisingly. Alabama being number 2. A lot of people are pretty fired up about because they already have a loss. Michigan State at 3, Oregon at 4, Ohio State at 5, Cincinnati, undefeated Cincinnati 6th, Michigan, who just lost last weekend, 7th, and then Oklahoma at 8, who's also undefeated. A lot of people were fired up about OU being as low as they were, especially around, obviously, OU circles, being that they're undefeated. But I said this to you before, they have their entire schedule in front of them that really matter. They play Baylor and Oklahoma State back-to-back weekends. Those teams are both ranked in the top 12. You beat both of them, you win the Big 12 conference, like you're going to be in the playoff. Cincinnati, it looks tough.
And
because they don't really have much else in front of them. They beat Notre Dame, which is good. They need Notre Dame to keep winning. But that was really their only big win. They have played Indiana, but Indiana has been terrible, so that doesn't help. And so it's really hard to see how they can get up there when they're already ranked behind a one-loss Oregon team, a one-loss Ohio State team, a one-loss Bama team. Like, just hard to see it.
They don't care, and there's nothing they can do about it. Hence why I think
that's why they moved to the Big 12.
One of my issues with this fucking whole playoff thing. A committee only what? Why? It's fucking committee on sports? Jesus fuck.
But what's the alternative?
Anything else.
They've tried a lot of stuff, man.
A conference face-off and a playoff. Conference winners, conference champions. It's we seriously, who? It'd be like if somebody gets an upset, they're like, in like MLB, it's like, no, I just think the Braves won everything, but fuck it, let's throw in the Dodgers. Really the Dodgers. Fuck it, why not? Like,
it is messed up. I don't disagree.
And that's just my issue with it.
It's just hard to figure out how they're going to fix it at this point.
Make conference championships matter. It's that easy. But what do I fucking know?
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, really the answer is to make a super league.
Exactly.
And eliminate conferences altogether.
One loss Alabama is ahead of how many undefeated teams?
Because they're really good.
I don't give a fuck. Like you said, like they still lost. The other teams haven't. Like move them down to 5. I don't give a fuck. But like they're number 2. There's a bunch of one-loss
teams ahead of undefeated teams. I mean, Ohio State and Oregon both have a loss, and they're both ahead of Oklahoma and Cincinnati. Michigan's ahead of Oklahoma, even though they just took a loss. So it's weird, man.
Why fucking play? Like, why even be included in the conversation of national championships when there's no way you can get there? It's like, okay, blowing noise.
Like these teams that are down here that are undefeated, that like are in big conferences, will get up there.
Maybe.
No, they will if they're undefeated. But anyway, we have
happened to TCU.
Yeah, because they were behind a bunch of undefeated teams.
But they know they're in the top 4, and they were in the top 4 after kick the like. That's just like that's how stupid it is.
I agree. But I just don't know what the best alternative is. I think that there's been discussion of expanding to 8 playoff teams and where they would have 5, the Power 5 conference champions. Each of the Power 5 conferences champions would be in, and then they would have a committee or somebody to pick the other 3. So what else are you going to do?
Okay, that's better than picking 4.
No,
just willy-nilly.
I agree with that.
And there's... Yeah,
it's messed up, man. I agree.
Yeah, the 3 at-large bids, because then a one-loss Alabama team could fucking get in if like the only lost in the SEC championship. Then okay, Georgia and Alabama in.
Yeah, because what's going to happen this year is if Alabama runs the table from here and Georgia runs the table from here, and they play in the conference championship game, Alabama's going to beat Georgia. And they're both going to have a loss, and they're both going to get in.
It's really not that hard.
That's going to happen this year.
I'm saying it's really not that hard to like make that, like what we just said, like that seems way better.
I agree, but that's what the expansion they're talking about. But there's money in all this shit, and all sorts of. Look, and I don't have the answers. It's the NCAA. I don't fucking know.
I'm just angrily making sure we agree.
We do. We agree it's stupid. That's it for college football. Let's move on.
I'm out of my notes. What?
Let's move on to weekly ing. Anything?
Weekly ing. I've been playing Call of Duty Warzone, and then the next Call of Duty Vanguard comes out, so I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
Yeah, lots of people who haven't played in a while are buying it, so like I'll have more than one person to play with.
Nice.
Even the guy I play with the most is really good, so I just ride his coattails to victory a lot. But it'll be fun to have more people play.
Nice.
I don't think I've actually like watched anything of note. I guess since I've seen you, I watched the first couple episodes of Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
Nice. I have not watched that. I watched.
It's exactly what you think it is. Like, there's really nothing shocking about when you see the name, you see how it goes. You're like, okay,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. I watched Black Widow. I hadn't watched that yet. Watched it.
Oh, we did watch both. I Know What You Did Last.
Nice.
Summers.
Nice.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Since a wee boy as a teen.
Yeah.
Just one of the
goats.
Yep, on the Rushmore.
Oh, love that. Happy for you.
Yep. So we didn't watch the prequel or the unrelated one that I still totally know, kind of remember whatever it is. We didn't watch that one. Plus, nice. I don't think they had a Jennifer Love Hewitt anymore, so would definitely 100% not good as the original duo that, like I said, has Jennifer Love Hewitt in it.
Nice.
Lots of murdering.
I am reading the new Shea Serrano book, Hip Hop and Other Things. It's great. I'm excited about it. It's awesome. Let's check that out.
How far are you in?
It's just like, because each chapter is like a question, like, or like has a different like theme, or like sometimes a chapter will be I'm drafting like all West Coast hip hop artists, and like it's just kind of random. So it's not really like a
it's train of thought almost.
Yeah. So it's pretty fun. Really
Nice.
cool illustrations throughout it. So
Oh,
check that out.
never mind. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, highs and lows.
The low temperature. I stepped outside for the first time. I think it was a day or two ago. I walked outside. I was like, man, it is November. Fuck.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Yeah,
heated seats, baby.
I was in California last week, and we like missed the rain. Like we got there the day after the rain stopped, and it was beautiful. And like luckily, I heard it was raining here, and then we came home, and it was like winter. It was a real buzzkill.
Ooh,
It is supposed to be good this weekend, though. Not
It's
bad.
supposed to be like 68 on Monday, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to Denver in a couple weeks.
Nice. Love Denver.
Week of Thanksgiving.
Love that.
It's the first time we're just not doing Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Yep. So got a lot planned. Microbreweries
Yeah,
and
that'll be fun,
such. Got a day where we're just gonna probably like just do nothing and watch Pacific Rim.
Nice. Love that for you guys.
It's kind of just an old honeymoon tradition that we're gonna do again. Pretty excited for it.
Nice.
I had a lot of fun.
I'm going to Arrowhead this weekend with a bunch of people.
There's a GP.
There's a GP. So, all right.
Hawaiian
Seems
Bros.
Like a good spot to stop. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.